We are in the middle of the Great Divide and the potential extinction of humanity. It's quite incredible, isn't it, when you think about it in general? But there's a huge divide at the moment between genders, I think people's identities. There's a lot of people that don't even want to be identified as a specific gender. And, on the basis of all that, when it comes down to biology, the human existence, humanity needs reproduction. So when people are actively making decisions to focus on their own lives, and everybody has the right to determine the life they want, but they should have a broad understanding of what that entails. So if everybody starts to choose their independence, by extension, it just means there's no reproducing for the most part, and humanity will be diminished. Now, I can't say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I spoke quite openly about my frustration in life in general. I just think life is a mess. I think society is corrupt, and I'm fed up with my role within this earth. I'm sick of being here. In all honesty, I don't like the human experience. I'm fed up with it. Nothing's ever fair. You have to be corrupt and morally inept to get anywhere in life. I think when you have morals and you intend to do things the right way, it's just you get roadblocked time and time again. Life gets so hard because society wants people to conform, and as soon as you start to live an independent life, or a life that one that you wish to bring you fulfillment, it becomes hard. It really does. But yeah, if we're not reproducing, where are the humans going to come from? It stands to reason. Like, I've made an active decision in my own personal life now. Like, I have a daughter anyway, so I've done my line of succession, if you like. What she does is her choice, whether she reproduces, what she does with her life. But I've passed the baton to her, and it's really up to her how she lives. And I'm just happy however she chooses, to be totally honest. But I'm not actively dating, and in all honesty, I've been single for 8 years. I spoke about it a lot, and in all honesty, I've given up with the idea now. I always had this idea that we'll get married one day. I share these experiences, and you grow, you learn, evolve together with someone. But I'm just fed up with people. I don't want to be rude, because I don't think you can't typecast everybody as the same. But I'm just seeing so many women that are toxic at the moment, and I don't like it. So it's making me lose faith and trust in them as a whole. And again, I don't want to be sexist or anything, because I'm not naturally sexist, but there's an awareness, and I can't diminish what I'm seeing. There's a lot of women that accuse men of all sorts. They target them. They try to diminish, make them small. Jokes at their expense all the time, even though women are very hypocritical, is what I notice a lot. In every area of life, whatever they accuse a man of doing is similar to what they already do themselves. So, for instance, they'll act like, even in even in the perverse side of life, even if you go on sexual fantasies, sexual innuendos, all these sort of things, women do that or even more. But they'll always try to make jokes and ridicule guys and make it look like they're all after one thing. Yet women have, in my opinion, from what I witnessed, women have a higher libido than guys. So like what you're talking about, it's like you keep making jokes about a guy this or accusing a guy of that. And yet women are doing the same bloody thing, but even to a higher degree. They'll talk about men cheating all the time. Women cheat all the time. It's very hard for a woman to stay single and alone because they need the attention all the time. Women are far more emotionally attached. I'm not saying men ain't, because we all have, everybody's unique. There's going to be unattached women, there's going to be attached women, but women naturally have this mothering nature. A lot of women, and they have this desire for attention. Now, again, not all women, but there is more of an innate need within women. It's harder for them to be, I think, independent and solo than it is for a guy. I think in general, not everybody. Again, you can start going back and forward here. But yeah, I just don't like the hypocrisy in society, to be totally honest, where it's always accusing guys of this, guys of that, and women are nuns or something. It's like, this is just ridiculous. Yeah, there's a lot of women that are toxic, and I just can't be asked of it. I don't want that near me. I see an awful lot of stuck-up women in society. I'm not going to pick on people's names or say where I've seen these people, but I'm a very observant person. And it always makes me, it always amuses me in my mind. I always think, why do you think you're better than everybody else? Like, you know, you're not. There's a recent situation. Again, I'm trying to be as vague as I can. And it was just a bit stuck up, and they just thought they were in the room. They were, I don't know, I just think they were on their high horse, and I just thought, wow, you know. Yeah, I don't want to dig too deep within it. But we'll show this image here. It's not really a video, it's more a clip, an image. It says by 2030, 1 in 4 women in developed countries will remain child-free. Again, is this not the Great Divide? Is this not the extinction of humanity? Is this not the beginning of that? Up to 30% will never marry. But the thing is, you've got to think of guys too. If for every statistic here means the equivalent of men, does it not? So if you say 1 in 4 women in developed countries will remain child-free, I mean, I'm not sure you can equate that. But if you say up to 30% will never marry, that would argue then there's 30 less women on the market to marry then, doesn't it not? Society will frame this as a crisis. Well, of course it's a crisis. It's not, society isn't, it's not about society claiming something's a crisis. It's literally, women are the ones who literally birth the child. If women are not prepared to carry a child, then how are these children going to be born? It's human nature. The real problem with people in general, like humans, we're very intelligent. So we do overthink and we do analyze. And then that also means we need stimulation. So our mind can go into overdrive. And then, of course, we want more for our life. We seek purpose effectively. And for some of us, there is purpose to our life. But you look at the animals in general, their life is built upon survival, really. Survival and reproducing. So fundamentally, any species on Earth, it's about survival and reproducing. And now, some people have got so far in overthinking and eventually liberating themselves, they want to live beyond our basic needs and urges. But that will be at the detriment of humanity as a whole. So every woman, for instance, everybody has the choice. Of course, I'm not saying people should or shouldn't. I'm just pointing out what's likely to happen. Let's say every woman said, I want my independence, I hate men. Okay, that's fair. And you'll be the last line of humanity, because if every woman demanded that they're never going to reproduce, that will be the extinction of humanity, because how else can humanity breed? I'm not here to say that's a good thing or a bad thing. Humanity's a mess as a whole anyway. It's obviously, this is just as messed up. But it is what it is, because, you know, some people can't get beyond their own desires in this lifetime. I talk about it a lot. You know, there is a need for independence. There is a need for introspection. There is a need to fulfill ourselves and, you know, don't miss out on the life we're supposed to have. So, like, if you've got a destiny, fulfill it. But it doesn't mean it can't be fulfilled in unison with nurturing and inspiring others, and so that's especially for our children. So, like, for instance, I've done my books. I'm on a healing journey. I'm growing. I'm evolving. But I have a child, and I've educated her, and I've inspired her, and she's incredibly grounded and stable. She's not one of these people that are easily influenced. She's not interested in all the toxic habits and addictions and other people are interested. She's very grounded and stable. It's beautiful. In a time when peer pressure is really heightened, she doesn't succumb to peer pressure. So that's been beautiful. So I don't see why people can't do things in unison, because I think some people just go so far, they make everything about themselves, and they can't even fathom taking the time to love another purely, unconditionally, and have what maybe some people would consider baggage, because it's an awful lot of commitment. So they hide behind their independence because they're not prepared to commit to someone else. So they're actually incredibly selfish by nature, and they're hiding behind that as the feminist movement or your independence, you're free, whatever. But again, it's up to people how they want to live. But I can see through the illusion and witness selfish people, because, you know, I if you look at all the things that a lot of people that don't want children, for instance, like I ain't here to judge. Some people are just not built to be parents anyway. So, you know, they don't have that nurturing side to them. Everything's about them. They couldn't possibly give themselves or, you know, make something else a priority in their life. But for me, if you look like when you consider all the things in your life, like for me, the most beautiful thing in my life, the best thing in my life is my daughter. So like I can talk on topics, I can do my books, I can try to leave a legacy, I can do things, I can grow, I can have different experiences. But she is the biggest achievement in my life, you know? And I think the sad thing is a lot of people are missing out on that experience. They're not realizing how beautiful that connection is. If you nurture it, it is incredibly beautiful. If you abuse it, it's just, you know, they're not pets. Children are not pets. These are not things you can manipulate and mess with and expect them to always be interested or. So like, there's such a thing as unconditional love, but I think it has to be, to a degree, it has to be reciprocated. Like if you abuse someone, you can't expect them to then cherish you. If you nurture them in the right way, then it's unconditional love for the rest of your life because you've already shown that commitment to them. But again, look, each to their own. But is this the end of humanity? I mean, it could go that way because, like I said, I'm not even dating anymore. I've already done like the reproducing side. You know, women are getting too toxic for me. I don't want to be a part of it. I really don't. I've got 8 years alone. Yeah, okay, it means I'm going to forego other experiences, and it's a shame because with someone who is mentally stable, could have a beautiful, thriving relationship. But most are just unstable, and I'm not going near it. You know, leave these people to their own fantasies. You know. So anyway, society will frame this as a crisis. Governments will panic over birth rates. Well, that's freaking obvious, you moron. Of course they are. What do you think is going to freaking happen when there's no one left? When there's a decline in freaking the human population? What do you magically wows are going to birth people? Humans. Because this isn't just about fewer weddings or empty cribs. No one gives a shit about the weddings. No one cares about that stuff. That's humans. That's humans saying you have to have connections for the rest of your life. That's up to you. I mean, I have like a deep loyalty to people, and that could be to my own detriment. No, but I don't think you necessarily have to stay with one person your whole life. You can have different experiences. So I think the attachment that you meet someone, you have to be with them the rest of your life. That's not really. That doesn't have to happen. But I think to forgo children altogether as some sort of statement to men is a bit toxic and a bit mental, to be totally honest. Because women are naturally feminine, women are naturally the carers, women are naturally nurturing. It's like you're taking away human condition. You literally, women are so intent on being anti-women. It's crazy to me. You know, I'm not saying they have to stick to gender roles. I know what I come across as when I talk. I can come across incredibly sexist. It's because I have to fight so far one way that sometimes the message gets missed the other way. And people might think, oh, you're just backtracking, you're just protecting. It's not really. I'm very balanced. You know, I'm actually very balanced. But just when I see an attack one way or I see a discrepancy like there, I go heavily the other direction to balance it out. That's all it is. Like, you know what I mean? So like my daughter, for instance, I'm happy for her just to live her life however she chooses. I'm never going to determine or pressure her. If she wants to travel the world, travel the world. You want to go college, go college. You want to build a family, build a family. You know, if you want to just work. I genuinely don't care as long as she's doing what she makes her happy. But the real problem is if everybody en masse just decides they're no longer reproducing, humanity gets wiped out. It's just obvious, isn't it? I mean, how else can you say that? It's just obvious. Anyway, so it's about women walking away from the roles that kept men comfortable and powerful. I think there's just this toxic anti-men culture. That's what I think. I mean, look, there are toxic men who control women. Look, there is that. And I think the real problem is we're seeing two sides here where there's women that are incredibly anti-men, and there's men fed up with this anti-men movement where they're just detaching. So eventually one of these women, let's say they go on this huge tangent, they're like, I'm not going near men anymore, I'm sick and tired of them trying to treat me like... Eventually you're going to wake up and think, you know what? I want to meet someone who's kind, nurturing, who literally values and respects me. It's like, yeah, but you've just told every man they're an asshole. And most of the men have now given up. They're like, I don't want to live in a world like this. I'm going to focus on myself. So all you're going to be left with is the asshole creeps who just literally stalk, harass, and don't leave you alone because everybody else has respect themselves too much, so they've detached. That's the counter side to it, isn't it? So by the time you get your ass together and you think, you know what, maybe I've over-exaggerated this, the guys aren't there anymore. The guys aren't there anymore. They can go the other way, of course, if guys go out that way and then women are not available anymore. But that's what's happening, the great divide, where maybe the best standard in women and the best standard in men, they've gone their own ways. all because the lower standard of men and the lower standard of women have sort of like ruined everything for everybody else, where they don't trust them anymore. And that's sad, because I'm open-minded enough to know that if I meet a woman who literally values and respects herself, but has enough love and compassion for other people that she can hold space for me, and for instance, if we ever have a child, they can hold enough space for them. That's beautiful, because I would hold that same space for them and the same space for a child. It's not, my life isn't governed just about me. I'm not a selfish individual. I'm just seeing a lot of toxic selfishness at the moment in this society as a whole. So people are seeking their independence, but it's because they don't have enough, they're not giving enough space for anyone else. It's just crazy to me. So yeah, I think, for instance, if you talk about relationships, I think communication's key. I think if you sort of shut down and you can't communicate, then what sort of relationship is that? If you can communicate, absolutely pure, absolutely honest, there's no grey areas. You know, sometimes someone's not going to agree with you, but you're mature enough to have a conversation about it and actually understand where the other person's coming from, whether it's decisions they make, whether it's finances, or anything and everything, even their desires and what they want, and recognise it's not an attack on you, but it's more of something that they want fulfillment in their life. Can you balance it? Can you work with it? Can you accept it? And if you work together, it's like that's just beautiful. But if you're just going to go into arguments every 2 seconds, feeling like I've got to win this argument, I need to be the leader in this relationship, then you're doing it all wrong. In my opinion, there shouldn't be a leader in a relationship. You should just be both equals. And I'm not going to spend my time, for instance, seeking a relationship just to be in a power battle all the time, because I'm not interested in that shit. And I don't want to be with someone that's that selfish they can't even have space or compassion for someone else. So although I have opinions on so many things, and I am quite resilient and I have very strong boundaries, it's only because I only want one very special person in my life. And if that extends into a family, then that for me is beautiful, because I have a lot of space in my heart and in myself to share that with someone, you know. But the more I'm seeing the way society is, the more I'm shutting down. And I'm only holding space for me and my daughter. I have much more room to give to people. And people won't always see that, because, again, I set my boundaries quite firm. I don't just let anyone close to me. But, yeah, what women are going to find is there's the guys that maybe would hold space for them, and they do have the emotional depth and intelligence to help elevate them and help them thrive. They're no longer available. You won't find them. You know, like, for instance, if I'm in a relationship, I'm happy for the woman to do whatever she wants, as long as it's respectful, you know. It's like, don't disrespect me. Don't just expect... The things that women are fed up with is the same thing that I would get fed up with too. So I can understand that. You know, if a woman's just doing whatever she wants, and then every time, and then she's not supporting, she's not helping, and you're just forever looking after her all the time because she's being lazy, or she's just abusing your time, abusing who you are, taking you for granted. That's the same thing that women have problems with in general. But it's like, that's both sides of the coin. There's women that do that to guys too, you know. I'm not interested in a relationship like that. If someone's prepared to, like, do activities, let's say you cook it, let's say you're doing a meal, let's say we cook together, I'd love that. Let's work together to do this. Then it's not a chore. It's literally a task together, you know. Or let's say sometimes, like, you're both a bit fed up cooking, and I'll do it one day, you do it the other day. It's like, mix it up. It's no one's responsibility just to look after the other. But this is like a deep, emotional, intelligent relationship, you know, someone that can actually hold space for each other. A lot of times these people are talking about comes from, I guess, personal trauma, being with the wrong people. But then you've got to look at where you're meeting these people, who you're attracted to, you know. If it's the same types of people, and then you get fed up with them, it's like, maybe you've got to look within yourself. And again, it's an important need to heal. But I do think there's this toxic resentment to men in society at the moment from women. And then I see, because look, there's different standards in every generation, in every gender. You know, I'm seeing an awful lot of content where there's women just have no respect for themselves. You know, they literally do anything for money. So they'll use their body to gain money. And then on the other side of that, there's a lot of women who are independent, free, who don't have no interest in all that. So they feel liberated. And there's women all over the place, you know. But then the same goes for men. And when we shut ourselves off entirely, you know, humanity loses. Effectively, it comes down to education, doesn't it? If you can inspire the lower generation, the ones that are lowest, the ones that are low vibrational, if you can uplift them, then all of a sudden, maybe we start respecting each other. But, you know, the more I see men targeted continually, I'm like, why would I want to be in a relationship with someone who's just going to keep targeting me? Like, there's no respect. I can't be bothered. So let's go through some of the comments. Let's see where society's at, because I like comments for that reason. I don't activate comments on a lot of my content because I just can't be asked anymore. You know, I don't get reactions. I just get downvotes. I don't want to make that point. Anyone that's got this far, if you downvote my videos, why the hell are you punishing yourself? Why watch my videos to get enraged? It's like, just don't look. For God's sake, have some sense. I just look at that and I always think, what idiots downvoted that? You've got to be an absolute stupid idiot, like a moron. Look at it and I just think, you prat. If it bothered you that much, why are you watching it? And if you've downvoted it after a few seconds, you haven't even educated yourself enough to watch the depth of the content. Like, what goes on in people's heads? I just don't get it. I just think you prat. That's what I think. Anyway. So anyway, let's see what the women are saying here, because it's mainly women. Let's see if any guys come in as well. So we are the first generation of women who can actually choose. Exactly, there's nothing wrong with choosing, but if you choose en masse to do one thing, and it's literally not do what your body was designed to do, because literally, the biology exists for a reason. You know, that's natural selection. That's natural. Do you know what I mean? It's like, my God. So you decide, you know what, I don't want this vessel. It's like, well, that's what you was born with, though. So now you're not even you know what I mean? You're losing part of your identity. I know I'm saying a lot of the wrong things here. But you know, have a look. Jesus Christ. So we're the first generation of women who can actually choose. Yes, we are finally, and that choice is shaking the foundations of everything that you used to keep us in line. It's powerful, and it's only the beginning. It's the only beginning of your succession. Literally, you idiot. You're literally going to be liberated to your death, and there's going to be nothing left behind you, and you're going to all look and think, wait a minute. I wish I'd done more, because like the message that I made dies with me. Huh? Ain't that shit? Ain't that shitter? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you inspire your children, for instance, and you educate them, the generations live on, and then they can inspire their children. You can be the chain breaker in your generation, your family like bloodline. You know. So then eventually those generations keep ascending, and it can help heal the planet, like, effectively, because they'll have interactions and they'll grow. But you know, you can be the wisest of them all, but your bloodline ends with you. Your message may end with you too. Anyway, good luck with that. Someone's put the beginning of the end, you mean? Exactly. At last, I'm here with my people, my fellow sisters who think like I do. I'm 52 years old, and a strong idea that having children is not the only way for a woman to be happy. I don't have children, and I'm happy. You're happy, but the children that never got to exist. Many people are scared of this. I see more and more people who don't think women should be mothers. Well, I don't think some people have the mental capacity to be mothers anyway, because the selfish nature of them. It's just, I don't get it, to be totally honest, because I've always wanted to be a father, and like, I'm not even a freaking female, for God's sake. You know, I guess everybody's biology is to reproduce. That's why we have the organs to reproduce. But you know, that was everything to me. So I can't fathom someone having the lack of emotional depth to care and have compassion for someone else other than themselves. Brings them like any sort of like comfort. You know, I just don't get it. I don't know how you live a life with that. I don't know, man. It's just to be that. I'm struggling with the words because I want to find the exact word to match what I'm thinking. I just don't see how there's anything more meaningful. At least I'm here with my people. Anyway, many people are scared of this. I see more and more people who don't think should be mothers. No dog. It's only shaking economies of first world countries, because for two parents, the outcome is one kid or even zero. It's the ones that are having babies that are winning. Cultures and political systems that remove women's rights. I don't know what you're talking about. Win-win for both sexes then, right? Women are social in other ways and have really strong networks. Poor and illiterate will give birth. Poor and illiterate would give birth. The illiterate would give birth. They're so like they think they're so smart. They've beat the system, and yet they're walking towards extinction. Love how the mind works. Yeah, I love how the mind works. See what I mean? There are a lot of women are like this. They think they know everything. You know, I see it a lot. I see a lot of women on their high horse. I always, it makes me smile. Again, you see guys too, but when anyone that knows what I'm talking about knows what I mean. That's highly individually. An increased share of women don't. Are you actually a man masquerading as a woman because you talk ball? Apparently, there's a male loneliness epidemic. So all humans are social creatures to some extent, but some of us prefer more space than others. My partner enjoy our carefree, child-free life. Deal with it. Again, it's like, yeah, it's like, again, it's up to people how they choose to live, isn't it? But I can't think of anything more shallow, personally. But literally, anything takes up their time is a burden. It's like, wow, your life must be special. Choose what? To end your genetic line and be replaced by Africans. Well, that's a bit much because now you've just gone racist. There was no need for that line. You choose the death of your bloodlines. That's okay. Maybe their bloodline should end if that's their attitude. Do you know what I mean? So if you're that selfish, maybe. In America, sadly, not anymore. In other cultures like Israel, why do they make it political? That's great. Women or men chose not to have children nowadays, but in France, where I live, you pay your parents at retirement. So if people choose not to have children, they shouldn't get paid retirement. I don't understand any of that. Our society is clearly better planned then. Nobody in Norway would burden their children, and they don't have... Oh, that's about that thing. I don't get that. I'm 56, single, no children. Who knew I was a trendsetter way back when I made the decision? The person who made this post. A pioneer without even knowing it. Love that. You've been living the life before it was cool. Or just have an incredibly poor taste in men. If there is a wrong one, I'll pick him in a room full of men with great husband and dad potential. Maybe we don't need more humans. The planet is already overpopulated. Again, that's how I started by saying, isn't it? I mean, humanity's a mess anyway. Maybe we only need better human beings, not more. And again, I've also said that. You know, you educate, you inspire, your next generation can lead, and then they can have an impact too. So I think it is about, personally, I don't think it's about the eradication of humans, but it's about improving humans. But yeah, I guess if someone doesn't have the mental capacity, the emotional depth to inspire, support, and cherish someone other than themselves, then maybe they're not ready to be parents, and they wouldn't be the best role models anyway. So maybe some of these shouldn't breed. I mean, the problem is you tell them you shouldn't breed, they start breeding like animals because they just think, you know, why won't have anyone tell me I can't do this? It's like, God damn, you're just freaking, you're just Lamar. It's like crazy. I'm scared of what they might do when there's an extreme drop in births. Natural selection at its finest. The quality of men is depreciating and women have zero interest in reproducing with losers. I mean, you'll probably find it's the other way around as well. You know, men don't want to be attached to gold diggers, but that's just that side of things as well. Or people that are going to extort them and try to make up fabricated lies as a revenge for their emotional insecurities. Is that side too? It's not just a shit economy. Women are also just simply realizing our entire existence does not revolve around being wives or mothers. It doesn't revolve about being wives, but you're born with a reproductive system that's there to reproduce. So by human nature, females are born to be mothers. Again, you only have to look at the animal kingdom to see that the females, that is literally their purpose in life, is to reproduce. It's just, again, humans have become overthinkers. And I think, to be honest, I think the intelligence gets in the way of that. I think they become, I don't know, they just think they're more intelligent. They actually begin to overanalyze to the point where they think they're more intelligent than they are. But if they was to go a bit more, they start to think deeper than they've already got. So you get to a certain point and they think they know everything. So they think they see everything. And if I see it from a higher purpose, it's like, yeah, keep going because you'll realize it goes full circle too. So although you think you've gained your independence, your freedom, you're liberated, it's like, right, that's the end of humanity though. So dig a little further in your overthinking and you start to realize that, wait a minute, there's a need for balance here. I just need to be selective of who my partner is. But at the same time, it's important as a human that I do reproduce though. At what stage is optimal for you? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, this is crazy to me. And I know how I come across, but I couldn't give a shit because, like I said, this is all that men hating shit. And I'm seeing it. I'm not even interested. I wouldn't want to reproduce with these people. That's the thing, isn't it? So it's like crazy. So it's like not like they always have the choice either. It's going to I said that already. It's going to reach a point where women are going to only have the selection of arsehole men to choose from because the other men have gone, I can't be asked for this either. I don't need this shit, you know? And then women are going to go, well, because women have a habit of that. They know they're naturally attractive. Aesthetically, women are more attractive than men, but body-wise. So it's a lot easier for a woman to flaunt her body and get the attraction of many men. It's a lot harder for a man to get the attention of a woman. So a woman, by natural, because of the way she's used to the attention, would naturally feel that she can, for the most part, can get most men's attention. So maybe they think at any time, I can get that guy, and they'll be shocked when a guy says, no, I'm not interested. There's nothing you can do to tempt me. And you're going to end up having to, once you decide you want to reproduce, you're going to have to settle for the arsehole guys. Simple as that. I've already had my child. I don't need anyone. It's like, fine. I've got, I know how I come across. So I really couldn't give a shit, to be totally honest. Like I said, there's so many areas with me. And once I feel heavily I've got to defend one side, then I do come across really strong, and I get it. But it's like, these people need to wake up. It's unreal. I don't think not having kids is only to do with patriarchy. It's also to do with an awareness, what people can see happening due to internet and health articles. Pregnancy can cause massive damage to the body during pregnancy. I'm not going to go deep and understand the fucking health side of this shit. Japan now sells more adult nappies than baby ones. That's just not a quirky stat. It's a flashing red warning light. Population collapses isn't some distant theory. It means fewer workers, shuttered schools, vanishing towns, and an economy that slowly grinds to a halt. Healthcare systems buckle, pensions dry up, and innovation stalls. Not from a lack of talent, from a lack of people. Most basic level, who's left to care for a rapidly growing elderly population? This isn't about telling people to have kids. It's about facing the hard reality of what happens when fewer and fewer people are born, and what that might mean for the future of entire nations. So true. This is a different comment section now. So true. I love that being child-free is becoming more acceptable. Do your own thing and live life as you want. Proud to be one of the women who will never experience being a wife, getting married, or having kids. Just travel, enjoy life. Government will just increase immigration. Men. So civilization will stop them. Who cares? If you'll need it so much, go make yourself a baby. Oh, wait, you can't without a woman. Because it's biology, you bloody idiot. So what am I getting through here? And then the idiot that created this laughed my ass off. Exactly. If civilization depends on women sacrificing themselves, maybe it's time for a new kind of civilization. That's not how freaking evolution works. You can't just make a decision today and expect it to cater to you. These people are so self-centered, it's crazy. Sad part is there's a lot of women out there that actually want to have children, and their bodies are just rejecting it. They can't do it. And yet you've got women who have the capacity to, but they don't have the mental depth to handle it. It's crazy. But then I just think these people definitely shouldn't reproduce, in all honesty. Well, just remember not to complain when things like the state pension is axed, healthcare is privatised, and those are the inevitable consequences of actions taken. We are tired of men. I think men are tired of women too, to be honest. I'm exhausted by women, in all honesty. Like, I just am. I haven't seen many great examples of. Only two. My mum and my daughter. But most other women in my life, they are toxic. They're very self-centered. They're greedy. And many of them, you can't trust them. I've had so many, even when I've gone through family court and I've discussed situations, I've seen so many men that have gone through similar suffering. It's crazy. You think it's like a one-off. It's not. It's like a pandemic. And then you speak to those closest to you, and then they talk to their friends, and they'll say, I would never do that. And then you see those people do the same thing. Women are very self-centered and self-serving. And that's why you see it. I genuinely couldn't give a shit how I come across. You see it all the time. What happens when someone gets a divorce? The women want everything. The average woman, and even above average, way above average, women want everything. They don't care about what the guy deserves. Let's say the guys earn everything, the woman feels entitled to it. And they feel always entitled. It's like, well, how is that the man? How is that the man having a negative attitude? It's the woman. So, yeah, it's like these people, man, it's crazy. I'm not going to go too deep into this shit because I'm going to get pissed off, to be honest. Because you can't talk on some topics. They're on their manhunting spree. And this is my point really in general. And especially women, and I don't care how it comes across. You can't talk about topics a lot of the time. It's taboo, and you'll be marginalised. But it's all right for one side to speak so negatively of the other. And as soon as you make a rebuttal, it looks like you're bullying, you're antagonising, and it's just because you're reacting. So it's all right for one side to have an opinion, and it's very biased and hateful. and it does discriminate. But as soon as you counter that, you're the bad guy. And yet you're just talking from facts. Just look at women in general. When there's an end of, I get really, really pissed off with this. They use children as a weapon just to make the other party suffer. So if you see family court, women just can't let go of a situation, even if they created it. So especially if like a man gets in another relationship, their jealousy consumes the shit out of them, and they can act like. And again, I'm not here to sugarcoat this shit because I see it time and time again. Women will go, that's wrong, blah blah blah. Have a look. That's exactly what women do. Whether you don't want to agree to it, who gives a shit? Because that's what they do. And now look at when you get a separation, you go through a divorce. How much do women expect to take from the man? Everything. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's so respectful. That's actually dignified. That's balanced. Women are incredibly emotionally unbalanced for the most part. Honestly, it's just crazy. So yeah, leave these liberated women to their own fantasy of delusion. And when they ain't getting any attention from people, they'll soon get fed up and bored. That's the reality, because they all like do this bicker thing and it brings them together. But women, this is the funny thing. A lot of women are competitive with each other. And again, not every woman, but a lot of them are. It's this toxic jealousy. If someone's more pretty, someone's more intelligent, it's a threat to them because they want to be at the top. So while you're fighting someone, you have a common goal. And I talk about this with the Me Too movement, with the cancel culture. When there's something people can obsess over, all their time and energy goes to it. Once something comes to an end, they have to look at themselves and then they look at their community. And there's going to be a lot of competition. So women can go on their little island. Look at this woman. She can go on her island. Let's say it's full of just women. Forget the men. You're on an island just full of women. They start to pick at each other. Because that's the female nature a lot of the time. You know, there is an insecurity. And it's like you can't take it out on the man. The man ain't there. You can moan about him for so long. But if you have, let's say, you're in this community now of women and you haven't been around a man for like a year, 2 years, you can't keep blaming them for your issues. Now it's about you and your own life and your own journey. And there'll be a lot of competition. They'll be hating each other. And they'll want the comfort and the time of a man, because you don't always have to go to that depth with a man, you know? It's literally a lot of time, the connection you have with a man, the interaction you have, not every man, of course, is going to be dependent on how you treat them and the situation you create. So if you go in with this toxic mentality where you want to sort of like create a manipulative relationship where you've got this toxic back and forth, hot and cold, you want to do sort of setups to try to integrate a situation to see if they genuinely care. Well, that's you playing mind games with someone. They're going to get fed up with this shit. They might not react in the way you're expecting. But if you treat someone with respect, you may just get respect in return. So a lot of the time, the relationships and the connections you're having with the opposite sex is a consequence of how you're treating them in general. So, for instance, if people want to start living this liberated free life where you don't ever have relationships, that's fine. You get every chance to determine that. But don't be surprised when you decide to change your mind and no one's there waiting for you.